Hello everyone and welcome to an episode specifically on Ruby, just an update episode. I've done Mr. Ink and the NEC, which is amazing feedback from the NEC, and I've only just recovered from it, but now looking forward to the show season, concerning Ruby and long-term ownership of Ruby. I've always thought that Ruby's presence in my life was going to be temporary. It was meant to be a YouTube car, and the one that I was never meant to keep. Unfortunately, that has not happened, and as typical by my track record, I tend to keep cars, not get rid of them. Be careful because of the sunlight on this car. I have been cleaning Ruby up all day. It's been a fantastic day, absolutely gorgeous day in the Midlands. And juxtaposition to all the wet rain we've been having, and this car has been battered by the rain this winter. Two different types of car covers did not solve that, and not at the same time. That would be horrendous. Don't do that, please. Breathing issues, etc. Generically, you only get paint lifting on panels that you've done yourself, so it would be the boot. There are plans for that boot, and it involves the spare tailgate in my spares from the donor car. That will be going on this car. There's no point in resurrecting this one. I'm not too fussed about it. The back window is the original, that will be swapped over. This tailgate is good for another show season, and then it's going in the spares, not in the bin. It's not going in the bin, but there's too many areas on this that are starting to annoy me a little bit. We've got a bit of bubbling there, and there's just a tiny amount of lifting, but that's not because of my paint work necessarily. We've had such a damp winter, and I was expecting far worse. This paint job was done 2 years ago, and it's polished up still really nicely for year number 3, and for a job I did at home, I think I can say I've well and truly improved my painting skills. I knew it wasn't going to be it'll be something that would come back, obviously. You're not going to stop things like this. But it will have a new boot, which will be sprayed white. It is blue, so I've told my painter to make sure it's thorough. That work will be done later in the year, after the show season. And of course, we're going to have this wheel arch sorted as well. However, depending on how much he wants to paint, I'm hoping he's not going to want to extend too far. We'll see what he wants to do with that. But that arch is going to be having new metal. That's the only bit of metal this car actually needs. But it looks good enough for a show season. I've just covered over the cracks a little bit, not literally, but it's good for now. And you know, at the end of the day, there isn't any rust there for one reason or the other. But apart from that, this is an astonishingly nice car. I've polished it up, and you really do forget how easy diamond white actually goes yellow over time. And now I just love this paintwork. It really is. The factory paintwork is unbelievable, and hopefully the paintwork that will go on it at the rear of the car will be just as good. I remember standing on this driveway a long time ago now, and if some of you have ever watched the first episode of when I actually bought the car, it is on the playlist, by the way, you'll probably see the state it was in, which it wasn't a bad car. It was a good solid car, but damn well it was tired. It really needed something special doing to it, and it's taken a few years, but I'm there. It's had an engine rebuild. This last winter I've changed the suspension, so that's been done. This has been done as well at the front. New shock absorbers and springs, because the old ones were just absolutely shot. The rear, of course, there's a lot of weight at the front in this. The rear ones were done as well. However, the rear shock absorbers were not changed because I can't get them in oil. We're talking oil dampers, by the way, for a car this age, not gas. And getting oil dampers is very difficult. There's lots of gas Mark III ones, but I managed to get some new old stock KYBs for the front. and the KYB springs and top mounts, that has solved a little bit of a squeaking issue with the bearings. You mustn't forget to change the bearings as well. And that's it, you know. Just have a little peek underneath. I've had to reuse that, but it's been redone really nicely. And that was the last bit of the puzzle I needed. There have been a few jobs that I have done elsewhere. I had an issue with this door. It would not lock manually from the inside. Okay, now it will. Now before it wasn't doing that. The cable was kinked and broken halfway to the actuator. So luckily there was one off the donor car. Fantastic. I swapped that over and now it can actually lock. It wasn't doing that before. So brilliant, superb. I've also removed a lot of the glue from the old weather stripping. Well, the weather shield, I should say, that I ripped off. Don't need it, not now. And also genuine Ford with 2 keys. Oh yes, I've got a proper lock. I mean, it would be ideal if the original key could operate that lock, but to change the cylinder, don't bother. I prefer to have separate keys for the fuel filler flap. So I've got 2 keys. I've got a spare one, 60 quid. Get it while you can, and I bought it straight away. I'm so pleased. That's like the missing jigsaw to this car. And then on this side, managed to clean some of the weather stripping behind here, but we've had a really good clean up around this area. Okay, door struts and everything, which wasn't done as thoroughly before, but now I've done that. The seats are still looking really, really good. They've gone a little bit baggy in places, but where you actually sit, there's nothing. So I know what I've done wrong. I think I pulled it too tight. I need to slacken it off next time, but that will be in a few years' time when I can be bothered to get round to it. Apart from that, I haven't really done too much. There's a bit of minor surface rust. I'm not going to show you because I don't like looking at it. It's going to be a bit of a tricky repair. I'll speak to my body man about it, but there's some minor rust on the inside and I might have to do a home spray job on that at home, but it looks repairable. This corner's still looking okay, even though it's slightly mismatched to the rest of the body. There's a line there. You wouldn't be able to tell unless you're looking very closely. It's a good match, actually. Apart from that, apart from the blossom going everywhere, I've redone the rocker cover, which first time round took some doing. It didn't go well first time round, so I did it again, and it's worked well this time. However, I can't recall doing anything in here. No. It's working well. She's now behaving consistently, he says. And, well, hopefully that continues. I just love the sound of the door homing. That door handle's got a lovely spring to it. I was told by a few people how springy my door handles are, because they go floppy over time, and because the springs in them go weak, they flap about when you're driving. No issues with this car at all. I have just, oh my God, you wouldn't believe that I've actually polished this. The blossom off these trees are so annoying. Well, thankfully, I won't have to put up with that for too much longer, nor this car. Because Ruby has a garage, thank goodness. After much searching around, and looking at some pretty scabby garage blocks, I am concerned actually that most garage blocks are from the 50s, 60s and 70s, brick built, usually attached to a block of flats, and they're in such a poor state now. Rotten roofs, terrible doors, there's just no security to half of these, and you worry that the roof's going to fall in, let alone someone steal the car. And the prices that landlords and lettings agents are asking is unbelievable. The going rate by me is like 120. Not paying that for 50 shades, I can tell you that. I'm very lucky with that garage, and that is brick built, but it is well maintained. The roof was done on that before I rented it out. But this car is going to go into what I can't believe to be a brand new concreted block attached to a block of flats, but it looks absolutely fine in terms of, well, there is no visibility off-road, which is really, really good, because I've always been picky at that sort of thing. And the whole area looks as if there was a bunch of garages already there, but they were bulldozed because they were absolutely rotten. And these brand new concrete ones have gone in their place, and that's where Ruby's going. I won't be showing any location shots because I don't want anyone knowing where Ruby is, quite frankly. This is the last episode on the driveway, and if I do any episodes, it'll be within the garage or whatever. But nevertheless, I am chuffed a bit because I'm sick and tired of the rain, permutating and actually penetrating the cover consistently with the amount of rain we've had, and it's kind of wrecking the car in places. And I've been, every time it rains, I have to come home and stick my head under the cover to check that how much water has it got in today, which is not good, particularly with that boot. And, you know, if you've got areas where they're starting to scab, you don't want that kind of moisture hanging around, especially under a cover, which is unbelievably bad. This car has been incredibly robust. I've polished this and given it some protective wax layers all I can. That's definitely helped. But even so, the paintwork on this car it's unbelievably good. It is robust, and a factory paintwork, even, you know, from the Dagenham dustbins of Ford in the 80s and 90s, they were painted really well. So Ruby's going into a very, very nice, safe place. And that's going to be the way it will be for God knows how many years. I really want to own this car for the next few years at least, because the car turns 37 imminently, actually. She's almost 37 now. And I'm hoping that this car might just go on a stand at the NEC for the 40th anniversary to celebrate the launch of the Mark III. And that is something I'll be doing with a few members of the Mark III standard group, which is going very well. Very small group, but a fantastic group of people with these survivors. They're all survivors, and yeah, Ruby needs to survive and just set an example to others to inspire whatever you want. Because despite the fact I've put so much work into the car, I feel extremely privileged to have got my hands on this car in the first place. And it definitely shows in a few areas. So thank you so much for the journey that you've been watching. Those of you who've been watching Ruby from the very start, a lot of videos on my old Samsung, which I would have preferred doing it on the GoPro, but by the time I bought this GoPro, I was kind of waning from DIY videos on the driveway. But it's been fun, this car, and this is a start of a new chapter for this car. Hopefully for a very, very long time. And I have no idea how long I'm going to own this car for. But as I say, the car that I was never meant to own for too long now has become a staple. And I cannot get rid of it because there is nobody who would look after Ruby the way I've looked after her. And also I'm kind of dubious as to if people would just want to mess about and modify the car. I don't want that to be happening. And that's unfortunately a high risk that these surviving automatic Mark IIIs have. The first instance is to throw away the gearbox and put a manual box in there. But that doesn't stop there. It will be full engine, and then it will be lowering, you name it. I'm very worried, and for that reason, the car is staying in my possession to be enjoyed by me for many, many more years. Anyway, you take care. And I'm just going to slot this into position now. Be embarrassing if this doesn't start. There we go. Tomorrow morning she goes in her new garage and get away from this place and the ferns. Can't stand ferns. poor Mr. Ink has to deal with this for a lot longer. Take care. CVH, gorgeous sound.